Oh, yeah. Y'all know what time it is. It's another show, Men of Impact with Dr. Brad. And of course, I'm your host, Dr. Brad, your purpose clarity coach, helping men to be able to gain clarity and confidence in their calling so they can turn their purpose into a profitable business. And this show, Men of Impact, we do every single Tuesday, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. And this show is the perfect combination of faith-based and entrepreneurial principles to be able to be designed to equip high-achieving men with the clarity and strategies to go from stuck in their career to successfully pursuing their calling, creating both income and impact, and living a fulfilled life. So if you're here for the first time, make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. Again, make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. For those of you who are watching the replay, welcome. We appreciate you coming on. And if you don't know, you can also watch this on YouTube. So go to the YouTube channel. You can go to YouTube, type in Dr. Brad MD, and I'll be right there. You can subscribe. That way you don't miss any updates and notifications for when this show is getting started again every single Tuesday, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. So I'm excited to bring another phenomenal guest to you. But before we do that, as always, I want to just talk about something that's been on my mind, particularly this week. And it's pretty cool because it actually really relates to this show. And so, you know, if you've been watching this for a while, and hopefully soon listening to this, as we'll be turning this into an actual podcast that you can download on, all the podcast outlets. But I have an absolute passion for purpose and people finding purpose. As a matter of fact, I believe it is extremely difficult to live a life of fulfillment, impact, and success without having a specific purpose. And I think every single person, man or female, we were designed with a God-given purpose. But one of the things I was thinking about this week was what really stops us. What is preventing us from being able to actually go after what that purpose is? See, many of us, and I've said this before, we have careers, but for most of us, our career is not necessarily our calling. And so what really stops you? What stops us from being able to say, you know what, I'm not where I want to be, but I know I want to go there, but I'm not necessarily making moves to actually get to where I want to be. And so as I started doing research, I found that there's actually a few things that are preventing people, or the perception of things that are preventing people from actually taking that step to live out their calling. First thing is there's this perception that there's a lack of resources. So a lot of people say, well, you know what, I don't have the time to go after what I'm going to go after, or I don't have the money. Well, the time thing is unique to me because I'm like, that really doesn't compute, because that means if we're not where we want to be and we're taking the time to stay there, then in essence, we should actually be taking the time to get out. And so we can't say we don't have time, because that means we're accepting the time to actually go do something else that leaves us where we still are not where we want to be. But then other people say, well, I don't have the money, or there's a lot of things that's just preventing them that are tangible, right? Like I have too many other responsibilities. Right. And then another one is, which was my problem several years ago, is I just simply had a lack of clarity. Like I just didn't know what it was. Like it wasn't about that I didn't have the time or money. I was just like, if I knew what that thing was, well, then guess what? I would go after it. And so because of me just kind of sitting around and not knowing what it was, it just costed me time. And so what's happening for most of us is we say either time, money, or clarity is stopping us, or we just don't know how to pursue it if we may have an idea of what our calling is or what our purpose is. And today we're going to talk about what's really stopping us, right? But one of the things that I know I can help you with is getting that clarity piece down. Because see, several years ago, that's where I was. I mean, even though I was successful in what I did, I was like, you know what, there's just something else. There's something else out there for me. And so I went on this journey to try to discover what it was. And it took me a while. It took great men, relationship with God, and some other stuff. But everything that I learned to be able to help me gain clarity on what that God-given purpose is and what that calling was, I put in a free purpose clarity guide called the Men's Purpose Clarity Playbook. And so it is absolutely free simply because I've been where you have been before. And I want you to be able to get that clarity so that way you can't say, you know what, it's not because I'm not clear why I'm not moving forward. And then me and my guests today are going to help dispel some of the other myths that might be stopping you from actually being able to move forward and pursue that life that you deserve. So to get your free Men's Purpose Clarity Playbook, go to this website, drbradmd.com/playbook. Again, drbradmd.com/playbook. And that way we can bless you with that free Purpose Clarity Guide. All right, you guys. Well, you know how we do every single Tuesday, 7 o'clock. We bring somebody fantastic, and this person couldn't be more right on time for the topic that we're going to be talking about today. He and I have recently had a chance to meet. He's down there in my hometown, so I knew that was one of the reasons why we connected so well. He's down there in the Houston area, so don't hold that against me, all my Dallas folks. But this is Mr. Chip Baker, and so Mr. Baker is a best-selling author, motivational speaker, leadership trainer, and founder of the Success Chronicles. Now, this is a YouTube channel where he interviews people from all walks of life and shares their stories of inspiration and motivation. If you have not yet subscribed to this man's YouTube channel, you need to. We'll talk more about that as we go through the show. He's also creator of Chip Baker Character Development Program, and his motto, I absolutely love it, is go get it. This man literally embodies the motto of go get it. He teaches it, but he also lives it, which is why I had him on today, so we can dispel some of these myths that are stopping us from and holding us back from living the life that we deserve to live. So without further ado, my man, Mr. Chip Baker. What's going on, brother?
Let's go. Man. Hey, after that intro, Doc, I'm ready. I got the helmet on. I'm ready to go. Let's go.
Man, so from just Jump Street, man, I have enjoyed the energy, looking at your social media, just networking with some other good folks that you and I have a mutual relationship with. They told me, they said, man, you got to have this guy Chip on the show. They introduced us, and like I've always said, man, birds of the same feather flock together. And so when I saw the energy and I saw what you're talking about, and I saw more, it's interesting. Energy definitely brings something, but when you have other people endorsing you on social media, people from all walks of life saying, yo, Chip, thank you so much for everything. I was like, I got to meet this man just so I can get me some blessing. So Chip, obviously, I've introduced you, but tell the folks what it is that you do.
So first off, I want to say, Doc, thanks so much for having me on your show. I appreciate the sentiments that you gave, and same to you. Love the energy, love what you're about, and it's always great to connect with like-minded and like-hearted people. Right?
Again. Yep.
So I'm just thankful for the opportunity to be on, and hopefully we can create some fire in this session. How about that?
Yes, sir.
But myself, I'm just an ordinary guy working hard to achieve some extraordinary things. Fourth generation educator, like you said, blessed and fortunate to be raised by some great people and be around some awesome folks. And I have the Success Chronicles, where I interview people from all walks of life and just share their stories for positive inspiration and motivation. And, we can't get enough positivity, right?
No.
And so my mission is, I take care of people who take care of people by providing them a heightened awareness of who they are and how their experiences can help them make our world a better place. And so that's just a little bit about me.
I love it, man. So you mentioned that you're a fourth generation educator, but obviously based on the bio, that's not the only thing that you've done. And it sounds like there's been some transition from purely education. But my guess is you've probably been motivating people your whole life in terms of being in the education system, but also being a coach. So I always ask every single guest who's on here to just tell us the story about how you got to do what you are now and kind of that discovery of this is what I'm called to do. This is what I need to do. How did you discover that? How did you get to where you are now?
I think, of course, growing up, I said, I'm fourth generation educator. My mother was a minister of music in our churches. My grandmother was as well in the churches that she played at. But, always lived a life and was taught to live a life of giving service. Right. And so really that's in the blood. That's all I know. I just tell you, well, Mom, boy, you're going to give service. You're going to either sing in the choir, or you're going to be an usher, not an usher.
Put the R on it, right?
Yeah, aura. You're going to be an usher, So, I didn't want to sing in the choir, so I was an usher.
And at that point, you were really voluntold. We were all voluntold.
Right. Right. And little did I know that those disciplines that I was made to do, things that I was made to have, I was able to take those disciplines and use those transferable skills and use that in my life. And so fast forward, was involved in sports, played 4 sports for 4 years in high school, played college football. Then, been coaching, going into my 22nd year in education, coached for over 20 years. And so, been a part of teams, coached teams, been a part of coaching staffs that's all related to team and giving service. And so really, as far as the point of when I knew I really wanted to do this is, just seeing the positive impact and positive difference that my family made on others. And really, it was just infectious and contagious for me. And then when I got a taste of that myself, I had to have it. And so as I've grown and learned things and been blessed and fortunate to be around amazing people to learn from, we all have those reflection points, right? And I think that we are the sum total of our environment, our experiences, our relationships, and our actions. Right. And so when we put all of those 4 things together, it makes us who we are. And then now we can kind of look in there and see, okay, what are the qualities that I have to give based on those 4 things? And now you can go out and be set on fire because it's your passion. Right.
Hold up. So Chip, say those 4 things one more time for me, bro.
Yeah, I'll come back on you. Let's go.
Yeah.
So environment.
Yep.
And you think about the environments that you were raised in, like I mentioned, myself, educator, church folk with no S.
Right. That's cool.
Yeah. That's cool. But environment, experiences, like I talked about, sports, education, being around those types of people, relationships, you have to cherish, our life moves at the speed of our relationships, have to cherish those quality relationships, and then actions. So, what have I done to make myself better, to improve and to have continued growth throughout my life?
Man, so the reason I had you say those 4 again is because, a lot of folks, I think, are in a place, whether they want to admit it or not, are in a place where I think people want to be able to go after something that they really want. I mean, I think people want to be able to I don't even know the word is it's just cherish something, to be able to evangelize something, to like ownership of something that they can just love and enjoy. And it's not a money thing. Right. Many of us, at least for me, end up going after money, you make some money, but after a while you're like, yeah, but there's not a whole lot of mission in this, right? And so, but I think everybody wants to have that. And I'd like to just summarize it by saying purpose. But you mentioned a lot of cool things that people can do, which is what this is how I coach people, is that let's look at these past experiences, man.
Right.
Let's look at these, let's look at as you mentioned, some of these actions. Let's look back at our environments and see how none of this stuff was ever not intentional. All this stuff was intentionally put in a place you experienced, so that you can now take that, be able to get the help from somebody like myself or you to get clarity on, hey man, what's this purpose?
Yeah.
And now what are we going to do with it? Because I just, you mentioned service, man. I don't think we were put on this earth to just simply big up ourselves.
No,
it's just about us.
No.
You know what I'm saying? Like at some point it's going to have to be where the light is off of you to be able to help, or at least your inspiration and motivation has to come to help someone else. But what people don't understand is so much of it comes from your past.
Yeah. There's a lot of things that, you said in there that stirred up some things. So I want to hit on a couple if you don't mind.
Yeah, of course.
I think what we have to realize is that, so like I'm me and you're you, and like each of us are a one of one. Like the big man made us like in his liking, like a one of one. Like there's nobody else in the world that's like me.
That's
Like
right.
there's nobody else in the world that's like you. And I think that when we really like, wow, like whoa, like for real, like when we really think about that and like really think deep into that, I think it allows us to see that like you have what you need already.
Mm,
Like you are enough already, and so you don't have to search for other things to make yourself be, like you say, big up myself.
right.
Like you have what you need within inside of you. You have the untapped potential inside of you. All you got to do is activate the greatness.
Mm.
And
Well, man,
so
this is a great segue.
let's
It's a
go.
great segue because I want to talk about you being a phenomenal motivator. There's things that are holding people back.
Right.
And this is, I mean, to the point, man, it made me research this past week. I mean, I was on Facebook asking questions. Anybody who knows me on Facebook, they're like, what is Dr. Brad doing? This dude asking questions. Like, what's going on? I just posed some questions in several different groups that I'm in and on my Facebook page of what is your greatest challenge that's preventing you from pursuing your calling outside of your career, assuming that your career isn't your calling, which, by the way, I believe is probably most people, that their career just isn't their calling. Their career is what they're doing to be able to pay the bills and make money. But I would also venture to say that most people are not where they want to be, and that they can recognize that. But Chip, let me ask you, what's really holding people back? I talked about it at the beginning of the show. They say, oh man, it's time. I ain't got time to do it. I'm busy. I'm not where I want to be, but I'm busy. I ain't got time. Or they say, I don't have the money. I don't have the money to go and pursue what I really want.
Yeah.
Or I don't manage my time. Or there's a lot of different things, but I want to get to the core of it because you and I had kind of have some ideas. We talked a little bit about it before we got on the show. I want to hear from you. What do you think is really holding people back? And then I want to hear why you think that that's the case.
I think for me, it all starts with the mindset. I think we have to look at our mindset, and I have a acronym that I use called LPOs. And for me, the L in that, as it pertains to mindset, the L is limits. If you limit yourself, you limit yourself. Right. And so you have to know that, like, really the only person that can hold you back is you. You think about it in our times of like internet and research, and like you can connect with people on social media. I mean, you have people giving free information out when you can learn and take notes and then apply that in your life. So really, the only limit is ourselves. If you limit yourself, you limit yourself.
Yeah.
Then the P is the possibilities are possible. And regardless of where you come from, what situation, whatever it is, like it's possible that you can achieve whatever it is that you want to achieve.
That's right.
And I think that when you don't limit yourself, when you see that the possibilities are possible, that goes into opportunities, right? And if you and this is one thing that came up to me as you were talking about holding us back. I think we have to have the awareness to know that each opportunity brings another grander opportunity. So it's important to be in the moment and be in the now and be present in the moment, because the opportunities that we take advantage of, if we work hard and do things right and be grateful for the opportunities, however little they are right now, well, people will see that. And they'll give you bigger and better opportunities because they know that you cherished the little moment, that you had. And now you'll do the same thing for sure. and you're deserving of the bigger opportunity. So opportunities bring opportunities.
Well, and I understand that. Everything that
Yeah.
you mentioned right now, I feel like is spot on. And I love it because you've actually already got to a lot of the solution, like,
Yeah.
limits, possibility, opportunities when it comes to mindset. I think unfortunately a lot of people are also, I think it comes down to a fear. And that fear could be a lot of different things. But like when I hear someone say, hey man, Doc, you know what? I'm not where I want to be. And I say, well, why don't you go after? And they say, well, I don't have time. Now, Chip, you don't mind if I be real. And listen, everybody on this show, I hope y'all don't mind if I'm gonna be real. And because I'm gonna call, I just might call some people out. Okay, not by name, but I'm just saying I might start how they say in church, man, you walking down my lane, you walking
Yeah.
down my aisle, right?
Come on.
So,
I got the organ over here playing for you.
That's right.
Dun-dun.
If you say, man, I don't have time, yet you're okay with putting in time to continue to be where you are and not get out, that to me just doesn't compute. It doesn't make sense. You see what I'm saying? Like, it's like, well, I don't have time to get out of my situation, but I certainly have time to stay in it.
Yeah, I think it's just the mindset of growth. And a lot of times I think we look far down the road, and the weight of the world may seem like it's on us because we're looking so far down the road.
Mm-hmm.
But really, we just have to take one step at a time. One step at a time. Young grasshopper.
Right.
Just take this step. And if you are capable and take this step, then it allows you to take another step, right? And then as before you know it, you'll be, power walking. Then you'll be on the light jog. Then next thing you know, now you're sprinting, and it started with one step, and that's what we have to do. We have to break it down and just take one step at a time.
Yeah, I mean, I think you hit on something real key because and it's something that don't get it twisted. I mean, I've got self-limiting beliefs. Everything you talk about here, like there's things that I know, just from a mindset perspective, I've limited myself, right? Sometimes I may not see the possibility, and sometimes you just may not see the opportunities because you're so
right,
bogged down in where you're not, right?
Yeah, telling yourself what you don't have as opposed to telling yourself what you do have,
right,
to work with.
Exactly. And so,
right,
when you talk about taking one step at a time, one of the things I think about for me is sometimes you set such grand goals that the goals end up become a burden, and it stops you from just realizing, like you said, young grasshopper. It's not going.
Yeah.
It's one step at a time.
But Doc, you need that process. Like perfect analogy, and I'll just tell you, like for me as a coach, when I first started teaching and coaching, I worked in a junior high, and I played football, and I thought I knew, had a decent knowledge about football,
right,
which I did, but playing football is different than coaching junior high kids in football. Because you have to know now the organization of putting everything together and how each person fit, not just my linebacker position, but now I need to know what every position does and how they operate and work together. And so, we would scout and we would go watch other teams for our varsity team. And that's really where I learned a lot of the knowledge, schemes, and, how teams set people up and all of those things. And so that allowed me to have the knowledge so that when I got the opportunity to be a high school coach, to be a varsity position coach, to be a head coach, to be an athletic director, now that process of me, what I learned back then, I was able to apply that information that I learned back then. I didn't just skip the steps, because if I'd have done that, man, I'd have really been in some trouble because I wouldn't have known what I needed to know.
Right.
And so what we have to do, like I can't say it enough, is we really have to be present in this moment, and know that, like, welcome that process, enjoy the journey of, struggling a little bit, because guess what? There's some blessings in every lesson.
Man, talk more about that. Be present.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit more about that,
Okay.
because you mentioned that whenever we were talking about the O, which is the
Yeah.
opportunities.
I think,
Um, Define that a little more when you say be
sure,
present,
sure.
and
So
how that changes people's, how that can really help and change people's mindset, particularly from being able to break maybe where they are now, thinking I can't, like there's really no way for me to go after
yeah,
my purpose or my
yes.
goal, or there's these things that are stopping me. How can them being present help them do that?
So, of course, we have to learn from the past,
Yeah.
right? We have to learn from the things that we made mistakes on in the past. And of course, we have to plan for the future so that we know where we're going. For sure, we have to do that. But I think for me, the secret sauce is the ability to be present in the moment. Like that's the
Mm.
secret sauce right there,
Oh, we.
right? Like, and so, like, you think about everything that you're involved in on a day-to-day basis. Okay. So for example, let's just say you're a follower of Christ.
Okay.
Let's just say you're a doctor.
Mhm.
Let's just say you're a husband. Let's just say you're a father. Let's just say you're a leader at your work. So right there, that's 5 hats, right?
Mhm.
So what if in every one of those situations, everybody that you come across with in those situations feel that they're important to you and that you're listening to what they have to say,
Mm.
right? And their opinion is important, and you're doing everything that you can to make sure that they're good in a situation that we're in together is a good situation, right? So, what are the byproducts of what you receive from that? Okay,
Mm.
so everybody in that situation is going to look out for you.
Mm.
Everybody in that situation will trust you because they know that you have their best interest at heart and you're consistent.
Mm.
So now that's being present and being in the moment. Now, what happens is now when you decide to move and grow, those people that you've invested in, that you were present in the moment, who's going to be your number one supporters?
Mm.
Who's going to give you a ride to get to where you want to get when you're trying to grow?
Mm.
Those same people. Or, and bigger than that, how much did you learn in that situation?
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Y-
And see, I'm so glad you talked about this, man, because one of my problems as I was starting to pursue, this path of coaching individuals several years ago was, see, I don't know about you, Chip. See, you still got a full head of hair. See, like me, I got a hard head, bro. And I kept banging my head against the wall because I'm stubborn and tried to do it all on my
yeah,
own.
yeah,
And I didn't realize how valuable relationships were
yeah.
when I was just getting started. And so I wouldn't be present. And
Mm,
so, oftentimes we live a life, man, where it is difficult for us to really see different perspective. I mean, and I get it because we're living our own life, right? I mean, it's hard to really,
yeah,
unless you're being very intentional about, seeing yourself through the eyes of someone else. It's very difficult. But being able to be present with someone, and in essence, what you're saying is this, Chip, my present almost to you as a
it's
person is
my
my
presence.
presence.
Yeah, for
And
sure.
I'm investing my time into you. Not necessarily selfishly saying, oh man, because when I start doing my thing, I'm gonna come back on you now.
No, 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 no,
Right. But
no.
but I love this because I'm telling you, Chip, and I can see it everywhere on social media. I mean, I posted this on my Facebook page. Somebody I don't even know put on there was like, man, Chip, go get him. Like, oh, like excellent.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
right.
So I can tell you've invested in other people with your presence, and it just helps with relationship building. But it also, I don't think people realize how much they gain from being present. And there are lessons that you would not ordinarily learn unless you are willing to be present and not be thinking about where you aren't, what's not happening,
Yeah,
what could be happening, what should be happening,
yeah.
or whatever else, because either you're on the phone or you're not giving full 100% attention to where your 2 feet are.
And you have to, just like I said, from being in sports and being raised in a disciplined household, I'm really strict and disciplined about my time,
Mhm.
and you have to prioritize. Like, I have a system for prioritizing my time,
Mm.
and then
Ooh, say that again.
and then,
Hold
yeah.
up, hold up, back up, hold up. My man say he got a system for prioritizing his time. I hope y'all taking notes. Every single week, my man say he has a system for prioritizing his time. I'm gonna come back to that. Finish that thought because I got to come back to that. But finish that thought.
Right. And so, I have a system for prioritizing my time, and there's there's negotiables and there's non-negotiables. When I
Mm.
set parameters on my time, these are the time windows. Like it's important for me to be there at my son's football game. I ain't
Yeah.
missing that. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's important for me to be at the table to have family dinner. I ain't missing that. And so, it's important for me to take my son to church and not send him to church.
Mm.
I'm gonna say that one again. Like,
Yes.
yeah, it's important for me to take my son to church and not send him to church. And so, like, those are some of the things those are non-negotiables for me. And so what you have to do is, figure out what's important in your life, and then prioritize your time. And I have a balanced pie, what I use.
Uh-huh.
And there's, like, visualize a pie chart.
Yep.
And if you break it up, the total is 100%.
Right.
Well, for me, there's 10 areas in my pie chart that I prioritize with my time and in my life. And so, but really, when you look at it, so that's like 10% each. So for me, it's unacceptable for me to give 10% to anything I'm doing. So, like, I got to give 100. So my pie chart's like 1,000, Doc.
Mm.
So,
Well, I mean, but let's be real. The reason I like that is because what you're saying is this. First of all, you got to know what's important enough to you to know what's non-negotiable.
yes.
I don't think people, again, I've been guilty of it before in my
Yeah,
own life, and I'm
and
talking to
we
all the
all
brothers who are
have.
watching,
We all
that
have.
sometimes we don't know what we want enough to be able to say, hey man, this area must happen.
Yeah.
And it took me, like I said, bro, I'm hard-headed. Hit my head against the wall enough, realizing, like, you know what? Hey, wife not happy, things are breaking down, kids, don't
Yes.
trying to figure out where dad is, whatever the
Yes.
case may be, because I did not understand that. So my whole goal with this show, with so much of what I've done, is that, listen, guys, I've made mistakes and I've had some wins. And because of that, let me help you avoid some of the
Yes.
stuff that I've had. Or if you in there right now, let me help you get out. Or let me show you a better way if that's the case. Which it goes back to what we were saying before. Our experiences should be used as a way of serving other people, which, by the way, is now the process of living out purpose, living purposefully.
Yes. Yeah.
This pie chart is a way to be able to stop and think about what's priority. But what you're telling me is, yeah, you might have 10 different pieces of the pie, but when you're in that piece of the pie, it's 100%.
I'm in that moment. I'm in that moment. And just to kind of go back on what you were saying, sometimes you're gonna make mistakes. Like, none of us are perfect. We all make mistakes. But what we have to do, for me, I think there's not winning and losing, it's winning and learning. And
Mm-hmm.
so what you have to do is, find the blessings in the lesson, learn the lesson, and then move on. Next play. I got to make the next. If I'm worried about me missing the tackle last play, well, I'm gone. So now I got to regroup, and because they're gonna run the ball right at me again.
Yep.
So I got to be ready. I'm about to show you now. I learned. Now I'm about to make that sack for a loss.
Right.
Right. And so that's the perspective of how it should be in life. Hey, learn the lesson and move on. And it's beauty in learning the lesson. Like, woo, he got me that time.
Yeah.
Like, it got me that time. Or you may lose something that's important to you, and that'll really set you up and say, hey, ooh, I'm tripping. I can't do that anymore.
Right.
You have to learn those lessons, and then move on, and then that allows you to get to that clarity, because you've made those errors and you made those mistakes. And I mean, another analogy is, like in relationships, whatever kind of relationship you look at, you have to go through some things that you don't like so that
Right.
you really know what you
What you do
love,
like.
and so, like, man, oh yeah, I'm rock with that.
Hey man, look, I've learned this. And I
Yes.
teach this is to many of my clients is so much of life is being able to understand what you don't want, or being able to say no to the right thing. Not necessarily deciding to say like, oh man, that's what I want. But part of it is it's starting to understand, dude, this is what, let me start out by just process of elimination. We talk about education. Let's go multiple choice. Hey, and
Yeah.
all of this stuff. I remember when I started learning test taking skills, they were like, well, if you don't know the answer, let's start wiping out the things you
It's not.
know.
Yeah. That's right.
Right. And so much of
Hmm.
that, because now if I've got 4 answers and I've wiped out at least 2 of them, my percentage is now at least 50%.
I love that analogy, Doc. I
You know what I'm
love that.
saying? So I always want things to be practical, man. I'm a firm believer, man. I can't say this enough. Every single person has a God-given purpose. Okay, who you are. If you're watching this,
Yes.
I'm gonna embed this every single week on this show, is that you have a God-given purpose. And that purpose, you are able to, as you get clarity on it, and hopefully this show and myself and my guests can help you get clarity on it. As you get clarity on it, there is really a way to actually be able to package it into a certain expertise to help other people, to serve other people. But again, it racks me because I want to help so many people, Chip, and I want to be able to get past this mindset issue that we've established, that it's not that they don't have time. Oh, let me put it this way. There's a fact that they may have not as much time as somebody else. Fact. Opinion, I don't have time to go after my purpose. No, that's a perception. So it's not that they don't necessarily have time to not pursue their purpose. Not that they don't necessarily just don't have the money. It's not that they can't, in these limits that you were talking about. We've said that it's a mindset thing. What can people do, Chip, to start to work on a mindset that doesn't look at limits, but sees it limitless? What can people do to start seeing, these obstacles? What's crazy is that there's no real physical obstacle, but to get past these obstacles so they can see opportunities and get some of this LPO we're talking about. What can people do to get the mindset so that they can now start to move forward? Because we can't get to them if they stay, I just can't. So what can they do?
Well, reps make you better, right?
Mm.
And so I think you have to embrace the reps. Know that in the process of getting the reps, that's how you learn and that's how you get better.
Mm.
And you take those baby steps. Like, it's not going to happen overnight, right? But you have to know that within that, going through the reps, you get stronger. Like, I'm visualizing, doing bench press on a bar. Like bro, you don't get big muscles. You don't get stronger if you don't get on the bar and move the bar a lot and put weight on there. Like I can't look at the bar and say, "Woo, I'm strong." Like, it don't happen. Like, touch the bar on your foot. Woo, I got muscles. I'm strong. Like, that don't happen. Like, bro, you got to get on the bar and put weight on there and struggle a lot to gain muscle and gain mental fortitude and mental toughness, right? And so the byproduct is, as you're striving to get strong, you gain the mental toughness, you get reps, you gain the mental fortitude. You might get a partner that'll help spot you, in life. And I'm talking life now. Now that's how you do it in life. But by you making the effort to just get on the bar, just get reps, just take a step, just make an effort to be the best version of yourself. One little effort. By doing that, you'll get on a roll, and like, don't worry about all of that down the road. Just, take care of what you're supposed to take care of right now. Then when that's good, stack it, take care of what you're supposed to take care of the next day, and just continue to do those things.
Which, like you mentioned, you're going to have to be present in order to do that. My man Reggie said, he took it biblical, which I love it.
Come on.
Reggie was on the show about a couple months ago.
Let's
Said, but
go.
watch thou. So 2 Timothy, which he talks about clarity, which I love, because for those of you who are Christians, Timothy he followed Paul. And so he was an apprentice to Paul. So he said, but watch thou in all things, endure afflictions, do the work of an evangelist, make full proof of thy ministry. So here's what's interesting. And again, the reason why I can speak so candidly about everything you're talking about is because I've been there before. I can remember being so frustrated and saying, man, I'm not where I want to be. And imagine this, Chip, physician, got to where I want to be. And here's what's crazy. I know it's a lot of brothers out there who are out there, externally successful, inwardly stuck, And so, and I remember, instead of being present and just saying, just put in work now. Like, I worked, but it wasn't as passionate and as just full on as I could have. Now, I came to the conclusion that I was like, the best thing anyone can do, and again, I want everybody to hear me loud and clear. I think the best thing anybody can do in a situation where they're like stuck is to work hard. It's just to do the work. I understand you may not like the work, but there's nothing bad that can happen from just putting in work. What you think, Chip?
And it's a choice.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and when I say choice, for me, it's another acronym. Choose how organically I can evolve. Choose how organically I can engage.
Ooh.
Choose how organically I can encourage. Come on, I got one more.
Choose, because I'm taking notes over here. Y'all should be taking notes.
How organically I can empower. And I think when we can just really focus in and strive to evolve, strive to engage with other people, learn as much as you can in your current moment, encourage others, because I learned a long time ago in my life that it ain't about me. Right. And when we the sooner we learn that, the higher we'll soar, the quicker we'll soar. And then, choose to empower, those blessings that we've learned. Like, Doc, the reason why you can talk about this stuff, the reason why you have a playbook, the reason why this is your mission and your passion is because you've lived this.
Yes.
And at the end of the day, that's how you get your clarity, is by living it. Like we can get on here and talk about this because, like, bro, I've been broken. Like I've made lots of mistakes. And I'm still gonna make some.
Right.
But the reason, like I said, I can share this with passion and, like you said, with no hesitation, with no qualms about it, without a shadow of a doubt. All of these things that I'm telling you are things because I've lived through it. I've grown through those things. I've grown through my go through, right? And so it's allowed us to be where we are in the give back phase. And I just want to, like you said, just help people move efficiently and effectively. And it ain't about Chip. It's about what I can do to help others and be a blessing to others, because there's been so many people that have done that for me in my life.
Oh man, bro. I mean, listen. So you said basically clarity comes through living it out. I mean, you know what I'm saying? And I don't think we're supposed to have it all figured out. You know what I'm saying? However, I will say this, man. I know whenever we're going through the pains of life and we're going through the persecutions of life, and it seems like, dude, like this is really not good. Like I'm not in a good place. There is one thing that I can say that I get it. Because when I've been there, I wanted it to end. But had it not been for the pains that I had in terms of struggling to find what my purpose was, making poor choices because I didn't know what my purpose was, trying to find fulfillment in everything but what I'm called to do, trying this business, that thing, every other, losing more time and money, right?
Yep.
It's because of those pains. Had it not be for that, would things not be so clear for me to say, I don't want my man Reggie who's on here. I don't want some of my clients like Brandon, some of my clients like James to experience what I did. Yes. And if you were in that place, I'm like, well, look, I have a roadmap because I've been down that road, man. And I think everybody is looking for that way to be able to impact the lives of others. But here's what's crazy. you almost can't have that desire and passion without going through some level of pain, that when you see somebody going through that similar pain, you say,
Oh, wait,
I
hey,
don't want that person to,
yeah,
oh, wait, I
don't
got
do
some
that.
information for you.
Hey, don't do that. Don't go down that road. Like it's a hole over there. Hey, wait. Yeah.
That's right. And we can't do it by ourselves, Chip.
Yes, that's right.
It's not meant for us to go down, to live this journey of life on our own. I need people like Chip in my life. I need my coaches that I have in my life. Oftentimes now I got to pay them. And you know what? It ain't even priceless to be able to get me to where I got to get.
Yeah.
Because we're not supposed to do it alone. And let me tell you, you see this head, you talking to a stubborn brother, Chip. You know what I'm saying? So I got two more questions, man. And
yes,
then
sir.
I'm almost kind of mad we got to wrap this up, but I want to be respectful of people's time. Like I said, I just want to have an authentic conversation. You say you've been through we've all made, decisions that we wish we can go back on and so forth, stuff like that. What's the biggest lesson you've learned, man, from a pain that you've had in the past? What's the biggest lesson you've learned that you say, you know what? I don't want somebody else to feel this, which is why I do what I do.
Ooh, that's good, man. I'm gonna go back. So, I didn't tell you, like growing up, I grew up in a single parent household, right? So, my parents separated when I was 5, and I was born in Dallas.
What?
My dad's side of the family from South Dallas.
No doubt.
And so, I all went to Lincoln.
Yep.
And great family, great folks. But people have their differences. That's just what it is. And so we moved to my mother's hometown of Hearn. So me, my mother, and my little sister, and that's where I was raised. And I'm thankful to God that my mother had godly principles and was raised the right way. And even though they had differences, she allowed my father to continue to be in our lives, which that's a blessing, because sometimes people, they let that get in the way of their kids, and that's not good. And so I'm forever truly grateful for that. But when we talk about pains, there's some pains that come along with not having a father in the house.
Yeah.
There's some pains that come along with seeing your mother struggle and hurt, and all of the disappointments, and although highly educated, still not getting opportunities. There's some pains with, as an educator, we get paid, but really it's not a lot.
Right.
And so the struggles financially, all of those things, and just seeing all of those things. So for me, those were deep pains for me. Like I was aware of the things, and seeing my mother cry because of the hurts and the long days, and, coming home, and, she take care of your sister. Like I'll be in my room, I look in the room, she just laid out with the lights off, just quiet, things like that. And so those pains from experiencing that has really set me on fire with my passion for what I do and how I do what I do. And just like you said earlier about, when you see somebody going down that road. So now, I've strived to be that daddy coach to those young men or young ladies, students that didn't have that experienced that pain. And so I know, like I see it, I see a kid with his head down and not very strong. You all right? I don't know, coach. Talk to me. I know, I see it. Like I know it. I know
you can recognize it.
Yeah,
you can see it before anybody else would see it.
Right, but like I've learned, and I've taught them, hopefully, and shown them that the things that you're growing through now can end up being your story and your testimony later, which you can use to help others, which I'm doing in my life as well. That's and right. So, that's kind of, you asked about the pains. That's one of the big pains that I've had, that I've truly learned from. And I continue to strive in my life to be the best version of myself, not because of Chip, but because I want to be the best version of myself so that the people around me will never have to experience any of that pain like I did growing up.
You know, it's interesting, man. Somebody said this. I can't take credit for this, but they said oftentimes when it comes to purpose, we're trying to heal the scars that we've overcome, which means
Yeah.
that you can easily recognize that same scar on
Yeah.
somebody else. So like, I recognize when brothers are like, successful but stuck.
Doc.
You can recognize when somebody had the same, because it's the same scars.
And it's
You know what I'm
scar
saying?
tissue.
Yep.
Come on. You know what I'm saying? Like it's not just a scar to put the cocoa butter on.
That's right.
Like deep inside there, like it's some calcification in there.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so
Yeah.
you really have to work on the movement, if you will, to break that down and
Yep.
help them see those things. And okay, now you can really get your motion back by breaking that scar tissue up.
That's right.
Let's
That's
get it
right.
out of there.
That's right. And so we end up recognizing our same scars and trying to heal them in other people, because
Without a doubt.
because that means something to us, because it meant so much to us when we healed our own. So, man, you guys, I got so many notes over here. I got choice. My wife chiming in. She's like, choice. Talking about, as related to mindset today, for you guys who feel like you're limited, like something's stopping you from pursuing that call. Let me tell you, man, nothing's stopping you. The only thing that's stopping you is you. And as Chip mentioned, it's one step at a time. Being present where you are now. You may not be where you want to be, but where you are, take full advantage of that right now. Keep moving, because you'll get clarity. I want to ask one more last question, Chip. There's a brother out there who don't know their purpose, right? And it's the exact person who might be watching the show, who really the show is intended for today, is they feel like something's holding them back from pursuing a life of significance, fulfillment, service, impact, and they're not making a move. What would you tell them to try and help them?
Yeah, you. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, you, who I'm talking to, that he just mentioned. So what we have to do is just take one step at a time.
Mm.
Whatever situation you're in, well, first off, you are capable.
Mm.
Like whatever it is you can think of, dream, achieve, whatever it is you want to do, you're capable of doing that. I assure you of that. But what you have to do is, in every situation that you're in, 3 things: show up, be present in the moment. If you signed up for something, have your butt there and give everything you got to give for that. Have a great attitude. Gratitude is the attitude that determines our altitude. Right? And let me hit you with that again, Doc.
Please, you knew I was about to.
Yeah. Come on. Gratitude is the attitude that determines our altitude. And then the last thing is give your all. Some days we may only have like 50 or 60%. Some days we may only have 20 or 25.
Yeah.
But whatever it is, and I'm gonna go Houston. Slow progress is better than no progress.
Right.
And so you have to just give your all. So show up, have a great attitude, and give your all to whatever situation you're in, and that will allow you to take those important steps that you need to take to get where you want to get. And you will eventually get there. And it's a process. You have to enjoy the process.
Man, look here. I ain't gonna show him all the notes I got. It's written in red. I think I'm holding up something like I done cut up somebody else. But look, Chip, man, it's been fantastic. Actually, you and I are gonna keep it going, as a matter of fact.
Yes, sir.
So here's the deal, you guys. My man Chip has a YouTube channel that you must tune into. And let me just tell you, we're talking about people from all walks of life, phenomenal coaches.
Yes, sir.
I mean, athletes that currently play in all different types of leagues, collegiate, pro athletes, people of faith. I mean, people from all walks of life. I'm telling you, you got to check out my man's YouTube channel, and go to YouTube, and it'll be Chip Baker, the Success Chronicles. Subscribe to his YouTube channel right now. I love it. Love the show. So glad I met you, brother. Thank you for being on the show. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having me. And one other thing, Doc.
What's up?
Go get it.
Go get it.
Let's go.
Go get it. Let's go. So listen, and when you follow my man on YouTube and or when you subscribe on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, I'm telling you, you will see Go Get It. You'll see the hats. You'll see the
Yes,
merch
sir. Yes,
on there.
sir.
Go
Yes,
Get It.
sir.
So I love the motto, man. Hey, man, thank you. Thank you for pouring into the people who are on here. For those of you who are watching live, thank you. For those of you who are watching the replay, again, thank you. Make sure, again, that you like, share, and subscribe to this show and on the YouTube channel at Dr. Brad MD on YouTube or on Facebook, Dr. Brad MD. As always, it's been phenomenal. We'll be back next Tuesday, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time here on Men of Impact, the show where high achieving men come to discover their calling, turn their purpose into profits, and impact the world. We'll see you guys next week.